The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning in 2045. At first, the radio astronomers at the Global Space Research Center thought it was another random space signal. But this one was different. It repeated in perfect patterns, carrying clear mathematical sequences that could only be artificial. Tom Wilson, the lead scientist on duty, nearly spilled his coffee when the computer finished decoding the first segment. The message was simple. Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth confirmed the signal. It wasn't coming from just one location. Massive ships had appeared at the edge of our solar system, waiting patiently for humanity's response. The next 72 hours were chaos. Stock markets crashed, then soared. Religious leaders held emergency meetings. Military forces around the world went on high alert. But most importantly, the United Nations gathered for what would become the most significant emergency session in human history. They chose Ambassador James Miller to lead Earth's response team. He wasn't the most experienced diplomat, but he had something more important: the ability to think on his feet and a natural talent for reading people, even if they're not people as we know them, he had said during his brief interview. The first video transmission from the Galactic Council stunned everyone. The aliens looked different from anything humans had imagined. Some had multiple limbs, others seemed to float in their chambers, and a few appeared almost energy-like. But they all shared one thing. They communicated with perfect clarity through their universal translators. Your species has shown remarkable potential, the Council's head speaker announced. We have watched your progress from stone tools to space exploration. Now, we offer you a chance to join the galactic community. Miller stood before the UN Assembly, broadcasting his response to both Earth and the waiting Council ships. Humanity accepts your peaceful contact with hope and caution. We have many questions. The Council's response exceeded everyone's wildest dreams. They offered medical technology that could cure most known diseases, clean energy systems that could end pollution, faster-than-light travel designs that would let humans explore the stars. All we ask, the Council said, is that you accept provisional membership and allow us to guide your species' integration into the larger galactic community. Scientists around the world began receiving technical packages. The Council was careful. They didn't give humanity their most advanced technology, but what they shared was revolutionary enough. Cancer treatments improved overnight. The first anti-gravity devices were built within months. Miller watched it all from his new office in the hastily constructed Galactic Relations building in Geneva. Something felt too good to be true, but he couldn't put his finger on it. The Council members were always polite, always helpful, always perfect. Look at these results. Dr. Anna Thompson, the head of the new Human Council Science Division, said during one briefing. She showed Miller holographic displays of medical trials. They'd helped us advance centuries in just months. Cities around the world began changing. New buildings rose with impossible architecture, supported by alien materials. The first public transport pods replaced old buses and trains. Earth's pollution levels dropped dramatically as fusion power plants came online. The Council praised humanity's quick adoption of new technologies. They granted Earth special status among provisional members, citing exceptional adaptive capabilities and innovative thinking. By the end of the first year, Earth had changed more than it had in the previous century. Global poverty was dropping. Diseases were being eliminated. The first human ships capable of reaching Mars in days rather than months were under construction. Miller stood at his office window, watching the sunset reflect off the new crystalline towers of Geneva. The world was celebrating what everyone called the beginning of a new golden age. Humans were reaching for the stars, and their new alien friends were holding the door open. But in his gut, that nagging feeling wouldn't go away. Years of diplomatic work had taught him that no one offers something for nothing. He just couldn't see the price tag yet. As he turned back to his desk, a message flashed on his screen. A private communication request from a council member he'd never heard of. Someone called Marcus. Little did Miller know, This message would be the first crack in the perfect facade of humanity's greatest triumph. Miller sat alone in his office at midnight, staring at the message from Marcus. The council member had requested a private meeting, not in the grand meeting halls of the Galactic Relations Building, but in an old coffee shop in downtown Geneva. No recording devices, no security teams. The message read, "Your species' future depends on this conversation." Despite his better judgment, Miller went. The coffee shop was empty except for a tall figure in the corner. Marcus looked almost human, except for his silver skin and eyes that seemed to change color with each blink. He didn't touch his coffee. "Your world is not the first," Marcus said quietly, his translator barely above a whisper. "And if the council succeeds, it won't be the last." Miller leaned forward. "What do you mean?" Marcus pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A hologram appeared, showing different alien worlds. These were all provisional members like Earth, the green hills of Altair, the crystal cities of Proxima, the floating gardens of Ta City, all gone now. Gone. Miller's coffee grew cold in his hands. What happened to them? Official records say they were relocated for their own safety. But I spent 50 of your Earth years tracking the truth. These civilizations didn't relocate. They vanished. Their people scattered across mining colonies and military outposts. Their resources stripped. Their worlds. Marcus paused, his eyes turning a deep blue of sadness. Their worlds transformed into council production centers. Miller thought about the massive changes on Earth in just 1 year. The new technologies. The dependency on council materials for their operation. The careful way the council kept certain advances just out of reach. "Why are you telling me this?" Miller asked, though he already knew the answer. "Because Earth is different. Your people learn faster, adapt better than any species I've seen. The council notices too. They're moving their plans forward. Usually, they wait 5 years before the final phase. For Earth, they're planning to start in 2. Miller's mind raced through recent council requests, surveys of Earth's mineral deposits, studies of human military history, assessments of population distribution. It hadn't seemed suspicious before, but now. "We've been checking everything they give us," Miller said. "Our scientists haven't found any threats." Marcus made a sound like sad laughter. "The council has had 10,000 years to perfect their methods. The technology they give you seems perfect because the flaws are hidden in plain sight. Each gift creates dependency. Each improvement makes you more vulnerable." He showed Miller more data, charts of resource consumption on other worlds, patterns of technological integration, and finally, military reports. "They don't just want your resources. They want your people. Humans are remarkable soldiers. Adaptable. Creative. Perfect for their endless wars in the outer rings." Miller felt sick. The coffee shop's walls seemed to close in. "Why help us? Why risk telling me this?" Marcus's eyes shifted to a deep purple. "Because I've watched too many worlds fall. Because your people remind me of my own, before we became part of the council. Because sometimes, doing the right thing matters more than rules." He stood to leave, his tall form casting a long shadow. "You have months, not years. Prepare your people, but do it quietly. The council watches everything in their new buildings, through their new devices. Use your old technology. They consider it too primitive to monitor." "Wait," Miller called as Marcus reached the door. "What happened to your world?" Marcus turned, his eyes now a color Miller couldn't describe. "We became what we feared. I serve the council because I must, but I will not watch another world fall. Not if I can help prevent it." After Marcus left, Miller sat for a long time. Through the window, he watched people walking past, admiring the gleaming new architecture of their changed city. They looked so happy, so proud of humanity's progress. In his pocket, a small data device from Marcus held the truth about their situation. Now Miller had to decide. How do you prepare for war while pretending to be at peace? How do you save your world without letting your enemy know you've discovered their plan? He pulled out his old phone, not the new council-provided communicator, and called the UN Secretary General's private line. "We need to talk," he said, "and we need to do it somewhere without alien technology." The game had changed. Now humanity's greatest strength would be its ability to deceive its new friends while preparing for the fight of its life. 2 months after his meeting with Marcus, Miller stood in an old military bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around him, world leaders watched grainy footage on outdated screens. They had chosen this location because it was one of the few places left without council technology. "The evidence is clear," Miller said, pointing to images Marcus had provided. "These are the worlds before the council arrived." The screen showed beautiful alien cities and thriving civilizations, and these are the same places now. The new images showed vast mining operations and military factories. The President of the United States rubbed his tired eyes. "How long do we have?" Before Miller could answer, his old phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. "EMERGENCY, Council Chambers. Now." Miller rushed to the surface, his heart pounding. The council had called an unexpected session, and his absence would raise suspicions. Within an hour, he sat in the grand chamber, watching the council members float in their gravity fields. The head speaker's voice boomed through the hall. "We have wonderful news for humanity. The council has voted to accelerate Earth's integration. Full membership could be granted within months instead of years." Other representatives clapped and cheered. Miller forced a smile, but his eyes met Marcus across the room. The alien skin had turned almost white, a sign of extreme distress, Miller had learned. After the session, Marcus passed Miller in the hallway, pressing something into his hand. "They know," he whispered. "Someone discovered my investigation. They're moving faster than I thought." Miller looked down at a small data crystal. "What is this?" "Everything. Their full invasion plans, military protocols, factory conversion designs, the truth about what happened to my people." Marcus's voice shook. "I've uploaded it to Earth's old satellite network. They don't monitor it. Get to your leaders. You have days, not months." "Come with me," Miller said. "We can protect you." Marcus shook his head. "I have to return to the council chamber. Plant evidence to lead them away from Earth. It's the only way to buy you time. They'll kill you. Some things are worth dying for." Marcus's eyes turned the deep gold of determination. "Your people still have a chance. Mine lost ours generations ago." Miller wanted to say more, but council guards approached. They exchanged formal bows, pretending nothing had happened. It would be the last time Miller saw Marcus alive. That night, as Miller decoded the crystal's contents with his team, the council announced Marcus's death. A tragic accident, they called it. A malfunction in his life support system. The data crystal revealed horrors. The council hadn't just planned to take Earth. They had already started. The new medical treatments. They made humans stronger, but also tagged them for future control. The clean energy systems. They could be shut down remotely, leaving cities powerless. The anti-gravity technology. It could be reversed, crushing anything in its field. Miller worked through the night with Earth's best computer experts, using old technology to spread a hidden warning through the planet's remaining independent networks. But they needed something immediate, something that would alert everyone at once. Then it hit him. The council's own communication system. The one they'd given to every home and office. Marcus had left them an override code. At 3:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every council-made screen on Earth lit up with a single word: run. The council's reaction was immediate. Their ships above Earth began moving. But humanity had one advantage they didn't know about, an advantage Marcus had died to give them. In his final act, Marcus had transmitted Earth's defense plans to the other conquered species. As the council prepared to strike Earth, revolution broke out across their empire. Miller stood in the old bunker, watching radar screens track council ships. Humanity had only days to prepare for the fight of its life. But thanks to one brave alien who chose to stand against his own people, they had something previous worlds didn't. They had a warning. They had knowledge. And most importantly, they had a chance to fight back. As military forces around the world mobilized under the cover of darkness, Miller whispered a quiet thank you to his fallen friend. Then he turned to the grim work of preparing humanity for war. The 5 days following the warning were the busiest in human history. Deep beneath the mountains, deserts, and oceans, humanity prepared for war while pretending everything was normal above ground. Miller watched from the underground command center as reports came in from around the world. On the surface, humans went about their daily lives, using council technology and smiling at alien observers. But below, a different story unfolded. "The Chinese bunkers are ready," reported a general, pointing to a massive screen showing the old Earth internet network. "They've moved 30 million people underground using subway systems and old mining tunnels." Another screen showed India's progress. 400 million hidden in reinforced mountain shelters. They're calling it the greatest evacuation in history. The council suspected nothing. Their own technology reported normal human activity because they were watching empty cities. Hologram projectors, reverse-engineered from their own technology, showed fake human heat signatures moving through streets and buildings. In his private office, Miller studied Marcus's last gift. The data crystal had revealed more than just the Council's plans. It contained weaknesses in their technology. Earth scientists worked day and night, turning the Council's weapons against them. "Sir," a young engineer rushed in, holding an old laptop. "We've figured out how to hack their anti-gravity systems when they try to use them against our cities." She grinned. "Let's just say they're in for a surprise." Miller nodded. "How are the Mars colonies coming along?" "We've sent 5 million people through the old rocket systems. The Council thinks we're still using their transport pods, but those are all empty, running on autopilot." Humanity's greatest advantage was its old technology. While the Council watched their own advanced networks, Earth's leaders used Morse code, radio waves, and even old telephone lines to coordinate the planet's defense. In Antarctica, scientists converted research stations into weapons factories. The Sahara Desert hid massive underground hangars filled with fighters and bombers. The Amazon rainforest concealed millions of refugees in naturally camouflaged shelters. Message from European Command, an operator called out. "Project Mirror is ready." Project Mirror was humanity's biggest gamble. Using the Council's own cloaking technology, they had hidden a massive fleet of ships behind the moon. Built in secret over the past year, these ships combined human ingenuity with stolen alien tech. "What about Operation Blackout?" Miller asked. "Ready, sir. When the Council tries to shut down their power systems, our old power grids will activate instantly. Nuclear, hydroelectric, solar, all the old human technology they thought we'd abandoned." The Council had given humanity everything, never realizing humans had kept their old tools working in secret. Now those outdated systems would become their salvation. Miller walked through the command center, watching preparations on every screen. In Japan, bullet trains ran empty on the surface while underground magnetically shielded trains carried millions to safety. In Brazil, apparent football matches in packed stadiums were actually holograms covering massive military exercises. "Sir," a technician called out, "the Council is requesting another inspection tour tomorrow." Miller smiled. "Give them what they expect to see. Happy humans, grateful for their help, going about their normal lives." In reality, over 60% of Earth's population was already hidden underground or on Mars. The rest would move within hours of the first attack. The surface would become humanity's battleground. A message flashed on the main screen. More Council ships arriving in the solar system. They thought they were being subtle, positioning themselves for the coming strike. They didn't know Earth's old satellites were tracking their every move. "Time estimate?" Miller asked. "At their current pace, they'll be in position for a full attack in 18 hours. Miller thought of Marcus, who had sacrificed everything to give them this chance. Thanks to him, humanity wouldn't face the fate of other worlds. They wouldn't be scattered across mining colonies or forced into the Council's armies. No, humanity would do what it did best: adapt, survive, and fight back. Send the final code word to all commands, Miller ordered. Tell them, tomorrow we remind the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated. Around the world, in bunkers and hidden bases, soldiers and civilians prepared for the coming storm. On the surface, all seemed peaceful, but beneath the calm exterior, humanity was a coiled spring, ready to unleash its fury on those who had tried to deceive them. The Council struck at dawn. Their ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, weapons charged, expecting to find helpless cities full of sleeping humans. Instead, they found empty streets and silent buildings. In the underground command center, Miller watched as thousands of alien ships filled Earth's skies. The Council's head speaker's face appeared on every screen they controlled. People of Earth, the alien leader announced, your planet is now under direct Council control. Remain calm. Resistance is. Miller pressed a button, cutting off their transmission. Let's show them how humanity handles betrayal. Across the globe, the Council's carefully laid plans fell apart. When they tried to shut down Earth's power grid, nothing happened. Their override codes failed as cities switched to hidden human power systems. When they attempted to use their anti-gravity weapons to crush buildings, the weapons backfired, sending their own ships tumbling through the air. First wave incoming, a general announced. They're targeting major cities. Spring the trap, Miller ordered. As alien ships fired their first shots, entire city blocks disappeared. The Council's weapons hit only holograms, wasting their initial barrage on empty targets. Before they could regroup, humanity struck back. Hidden defense platforms emerged from underground bunkers. Weapons reverse-engineered from Council technology, but modified with human innovations, opened fire. Dozens of alien ships fell from the sky in the first minute. They're trying to activate their control signals. Someone shouted. These signals were meant to paralyze humans who had used Council medical treatments. Miller smiled grimly. Show them Marcus's last gift. Engineers activated the jamming systems Marcus had helped them design. The control signals bounced harmlessly off Earth's atmosphere, turned back against the Council's own ships. Alien crews found themselves temporarily paralyzed by their own weapon. In orbit, the Council's main fleet moved to surround Earth. That's when humanity revealed its biggest surprise. The moon shimmed as Project Mirror activated. Hundreds of human ships, hidden behind holographic shields, emerged from lunar orbit. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Miller commanded. The human fleet, combining Earth's best technology with stolen Council innovations, engaged the surprised alien armada. On the ground, Council ground forces landed in major cities, expecting to find crowds of helpless humans. Instead, they found automated defense systems and combat robots. In the streets of New York, London, Tokyo, and Beijing, the aliens fought against machines while human soldiers waited safely in their bunkers. Sir, an operator called out. Message from their command ship. It's Marcus. Miller rushed to the screen. Marcus appeared, his silver skin damaged, but his eyes burning bright. I planted the virus, he gasped. Their main weapons, going offline. In 3 minutes. But they know I'm here. Get out of there, Miller shouted. Marcus shook his head. Too late for me. But not for Earth. Remember what I taught you about their shield frequencies. The transmission cut off. As explosions rocked the Council's command ship, their primary weapon system failed across the entire fleet, just as Marcus had promised. All units, Miller commanded, his voice firm despite the emotion he felt. Attack pattern Omega. For Marcus. Human ships swarmed the confused Council fleet. On the ground, hidden bunkers opened, revealing Earth's real military might. Tanks rolled out of mountain sides. Fighter jets emerged from underwater hangars. Soldiers in powered armor suits, designed by human engineers, engaged alien ground forces. The Council had expected an easy victory over a primitive species. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that had spent months preparing, using their own technology against them. As the battle raged in orbit and on the ground, Miller received reports from across the galaxy. Other enslaved species, warned by Marcus's final transmission, were rising up against their oppressors. The Council's empire was fighting wars on 100 fronts. "Status report," Miller called out. "Council forces retreating in Asia and Europe. Their ground forces are cut off from orbital support. Our moon base is launching the second wave of fighters. And, sir," the operator paused, "we're winning." Miller looked at the tactical display, watching Council ships fall back in disarray. Humanity had survived the betrayal, and now they would make the Council regret ever considering Earth an easy target. The real war was just beginning. 3 days after the initial battle, Miller stood on the bridge of Earth's newest warship, the Marcus's Legacy. Through the view screen, he watched the Council's retreating forces regroup near Jupiter. "They're not running away," he told his commanders. "They're calling for reinforcements." Earth had won the first battle, but everyone knew the Council wouldn't give up easily. They had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They wouldn't let one planet's resistance destroy everything. "Signal from Mars colony," an officer reported. "The hidden shipyards are ready. 50 new warships, built using Marcus's designs." Miller nodded. The Council never understood why humans had been so interested in their shipbuilding technology. They thought Earth was building transport vessels. Instead, humanity had created weapons of war, hidden beneath the red sands of Mars. "Launch the attack on their supply lines," Miller ordered. Operation Thunderbolt is a go. Across the solar system, human ships emerged from hiding spots in asteroid belts and behind moons. The Council had always ignored these worthless rocks, never realizing each one could hide a deadly surprise. The human fleet split into 3 groups. The first attacked the Council's supply lines, cutting off their reinforcements. The second protected Earth, ready for any surprise attacks. The third, led by Miller himself, prepared for the boldest move in human military history. "All ships, prepare for faster-than-light jump," Miller commanded. "Let's show them how humans wage war." The Council had given humanity FTL technology, teaching them only the basics. They didn't know that Earth's scientists had spent months improving it, making it faster and more precise than even the Council's best ships. Miller's fleet jumped directly into the heart of Council space. They appeared above the Council's main shipyard world, catching the alien defenders completely by surprise. "They never expected us to strike their home systems," Miller said. "They thought we were just primitive beings, fighting for survival." Human ships launched their attack. Unlike the Council's standardized tactics, each Earth vessel fought differently. Some used old-style nuclear weapons, which the Council had dismissed as obsolete. Others used modified Council technology in ways its creators never imagined. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "other species are joining the fight. The Altarians, the Proximans, all the races the Council enslaved. They're rising up." On screens across the bridge, Miller watched as ships from a dozen alien species joined the attack. Marcus's last message hadn't just warned Earth, it had sparked a revolution across the galaxy. The Council's perfect order crumbled in the face of chaos. Their ships, designed to fight in specific ways, couldn't adapt to human battle tactics. Earth's fleet seemed to break every rule of space combat, and it worked. "Their command center is exposed," Miller announced. "All ships, focus fire on these coordinates." The Council had built their headquarters to be the perfect display of power. A massive space station covered in gleaming towers. Now that pride became their weakness. The combined fleet of humans and liberated aliens concentrated their attack on one point, following Earth's battle plan. The station's defenses, designed to stop conventional attacks, failed against weapons they'd never encountered. Human ingenuity had turned simple technologies into devastating weapons. Council leadership is trying to evacuate, someone reported. They're heading for their escape ships. Miller thought of Marcus, who died giving humanity a chance to fight. Not this time, he said. No more running away to destroy other worlds. Special forces teams, made up of humans and alien allies, teleported onto the station using modified Council technology. They moved through the corridors using tactics the Council had never seen, combining different species' strengths. The Council's leadership, who had ruled the galaxy through fear and deception, found themselves trapped by their own arrogance. They had never imagined their primitive enemies could reach them here. As human forces secured the station, Miller received messages from across the galaxy. Everywhere, oppressed species were overthrowing their Council overlords. The carefully maintained empire was falling apart in a single day. "Send word to Earth," Miller ordered. "Tell them the Council's reign is ending. A new age is beginning." The galaxy was changing, and humanity, the species the Council had tried to enslave, was leading that change. 1 year after the fall of the Council, representatives from 100 alien species gathered in the new Galactic Assembly on Earth. The old Council chamber had been destroyed. In its place stood a simple, circular building made of glass and steel, designed to represent transparency and equality. Miller stood at the podium, looking at the diverse gathering. Some species floated in anti-gravity fields, others stood on multiple legs, and some appeared as pure energy. But unlike the old Council meetings, no species stood above the others. 1 year ago, Miller began, we faced extinction. Today, we gather as equals to build something new. The Earth behind him had changed. The fake Council buildings were gone, replaced by structures that combined the best of human and alien technology. But unlike before, everything was built with cooperation, not control. The first order of business, Miller announced, is the trial of the former Council leaders. The captured Council members were brought in. Their fine robes were gone, replaced by simple prison garments. They looked smaller now, their power stripped away. "You did not destroy us," Miller told them, "because you failed to understand what makes humanity strong. We don't just adapt. We learn, we improvise, and most importantly, we work together." The trial was quick but fair. The evidence Marcus had gathered over 50 years left no doubt about their crimes. Worlds stripped of resources, species enslaved, civilizations destroyed. The Council leaders were sentenced to help rebuild the worlds they had destroyed, not as rulers, but as workers, experiencing the life they had forced on others. After the trial, Miller walked through the Assembly's memorial garden. At its center stood a statue of Marcus, his eyes carved to show every color he had displayed. The inscription read, "One person's courage can change the galaxy." "Ambassador Miller," a young lieutenant called out, "the first graduation ceremony is ready." Miller smiled. The new Galactic Defense Academy was his favorite project. Young beings from every species trained together, learning from each other's strengths. Humans taught adaptability and innovation. The Altarians shared their wisdom about space phenomena. The Proximans taught advanced mathematics. In the Academy's main hall, cadets of all species stood together. No more would the galaxy's military serve one ruling power. Instead, they would protect all species equally. The Council's greatest mistake, Miller told the graduates, was thinking that differences make us weak. Today we prove that our differences make us stronger. News from across the galaxy showed the changes. The worlds the Council had stripped were being restored. The species they had scattered were returning home. New technologies were being developed through cooperation, not control. Earth had changed too. Humans now traveled freely among the stars, but they hadn't lost what made them unique. They still questioned, still innovated, still found new ways to solve old problems. In orbit, the Marcus's legacy prepared for its next mission. The ship now carried a crew from 15 different species, exploring the galaxy not to conquer, but to learn and help. Sir, an aide interrupted Miller's thoughts. They found something in the old council archives, records of other galaxies they planned to conquer. Miller nodded. Then we have work to do. There are others out there who need to be warned, who need to know they're not alone. In the evening, Miller stood in his old office one last time. The next day, he would leave with the Marcus's legacy on its mission of exploration and warning. On his desk sat the small data crystal where it all began, Marcus's final gift to humanity. He picked up the crystal, thinking about how a single act of courage had changed everything. The Council had told humanity to run. Instead, they had stood their ground, fought back, and built something better. "Ready to go, sir?" his new alien deputy asked from the doorway. Miller looked out at the sunset. The sky was filled with ships of all shapes and sizes, carrying beings from across the galaxy. Earth was no longer just humanity's home. It had become a symbol of freedom for all species. "Yes," Miller said, pocketing the crystal. "Let's go make Marcus proud." The galaxy had faced its darkness and emerged stronger, and humanity, the species that refused to run, now helped lead the way toward a brighter future for all.